Hello. So, when I last was here, I was testing this 1571, and so far it has tried to read this or initialize this disk 1,134 times, and guess what? It's not happening. So you know, they can't all be perfect. So, are we going to look at it now? No. No, we are not. No. It has well, the bottom doesn't look bad, but it's very yellowed. And it's funny, it has one foot here that's been squished, of all things. So, I'll put this down over here. And at some point, we'll have a look. So, I remember we're going to take apart a 128 keyboard, and then we found that it had funny nuts inside. It did, holding the keyboard in place. So I went looking to things that I might take it apart with, and nothing seemed to be happy until I kind of pieced together this menagerie. This is a funny little socket thing, kind of like a socket wrench. And then I found an adapter bit for a socket wrench, because I found a tiny little socket wrench that, according to my estimations, should work. So I'm going to try it. I'd like to think it works. Ooh, something happened. Oh yeah. Aha! Now here are some little things. This is the screw, and it's got a little plastic holder, which, as far as I know, are unique to the 128 keyboard, I think. Oh. I think this little thing is not the perfect size, I think, but it's close enough. So, normally I would put the screws on top of the monitor. But I think they're okay there. Funny, some of these are quite agreeable. This machine, I believe, has had some smoke damage, and it also has evidence that maybe there was something spilled in it. Something with caffeine, probably. So there are, oh dear, sometimes these, it's funny, you get them undone and then they don't want to come. There we go. So there are 6 that I can tell. I like the sound of a socket, but once things kind of loosen up, then it doesn't want to do it. Okay. So there. 6 screws, 4 little holders. 1 Commodore 128 keyboard. To me, and it's quite yellowed, but it looks like some keys have maybe been replaced. Well, I think, of all things, the restore key has been replaced, or restored. And everything else looks mighty yellow. This bunch is going to be a good candidate for the washer, which I talked about before, which is a big bag with hot water as hot as it will come out of the tap, and a bunch of dish soap, and then you shake it vigorously. Here, which I will test later, is a power LED from the Commodore 128. Now, it fell. As you may be aware, oh no, it's my last envelope for the moment. Anyway, I will put the funny screws from the 128 into this bag. And I will mark them. So C128 keyboard holding, I'm going to call them nuts. 6. And I will toss them over there. The LED I will leave there for a moment. It's not so small, it's not so dainty, and I can deal with it later. And let's see, the top of the case, well, it has the leftover remnants of my notes about how the machine involved was like dead. And it's got what a lot of people used to do, little bits and pieces of stuff taped to it, which is quite sticky. Anyway, I'm not sure if this will ever go back onto anything again, but maybe. So it's kind of dirty, it's kind of empty. I will set it over here with the broken 1571. So now, I will move this 1541, and I will move this 1541. They're now sitting on dual drive. Now, I don't know that I need to take this entire keyboard apart, but oh yeah, I think I do. One thing I do find, there are many more things on here that have switches, not switches, soldered in keys. What do we have here? We have the 4080, caps lock, which is up at the top, shift lock, which is down on the keyboard. But the other reason I think I have to take this apart is there are different key parts inside of these keyboards, there are. And it seems that the function keys and other things, they are different colors. So, I will go to my little bag of tools. And why do I put things in a little bag? Well, so at least I know they're all there. I'm going to try this bigger screwdriver in this one. Oh, look at that. Now, at this moment, I am in some trouble because I do not have another envelope. And I do not want to lose these screws. I wonder... Oh. Well, there's kind of a little cup. As it happens, there's some other screws in there, and I'm not sure what they are, but I'll certainly be able to know what these are compared to them. So I will get more envelopes so I can keep things apart. This is a Commodore 128. I do not know how many little screws there are. I just know that there are lots. They are spaced, oh, maybe 3 centimeters apart everywhere. And once again, because I do not have a soldering iron handy, I might have to break the little wires that go to the shift keys unless I can figure something else out. And at this moment, I don't think I can. I would undo these screws with my other hand, but I am left-handed, and this does seem much easier to me. It does. I have, as some of you may know, a twin brother. He, of all things, is right-handed. How did this happen? I don't know. But I've heard with twins it is sometimes, sorry, I would say it's not common, but it's not uncommon. So, many little screws. Maybe I will try the other hand. As I've told you before, sometimes, especially my left hand, starts to tingle when I do these things. But that usually sorts it. Ooh. So, we are now down to, looks like 6 to go. And I really wish I had, or I knew where my soldering iron was, because I would much rather gracefully undo these wires than break them. And I will find it. Now, you sit there. I now put the screw receptacle on the 1701 monitor. And so far, I have lost none of them. So now, the bottom is loose. It is. And you know what? Actually, I may not break the bars. What I really need off this keyboard are the function keys. They are dirty. I'm going to switch screwdrivers. As I think I mentioned before, I often like to use a big, oh no, that's not the right one, a big fork to get keys off. Kind of like a great big salad fork that you would use to serve, not to eat. But I don't know where that is. Oh. And there's my... And I did have great success with this screwdriver on the other keyboard. The one thing I do dread is hurting one of these, because these are some of the keys that get, it seems, hurt the most. And I don't know if it's because they're used, it's just because of their location. Now I'm going to mix the spring in with the, and the key, in with the screws. I can sort that out. They don't look the same. Anyway, these keys definitely need a bath. They do not, I don't think they're at all damaged, they're just, like the machine, filthy. The one nice thing, oh, come on, about not taking the bottom all the way off yet, is that the key stems will not just fall out. But I do need these ones. These are the blue ones, and they are specific to the key. Oh, what is that? Oh my, hang on. A tiny little spring has appeared. So tiny you can't see. I can barely, or I can't really. I'm going to toss it in there. I don't know what it's from. Because these blue key stems, they have no springs. That's very strange. Maybe it was an anomaly that fell in there sometime. Maybe it's out of one of the caps keys. I don't know, but because I'm here, but I really don't need to take the whole keyboard apart, I am going to get the arrow keys. They also seem to be something that likes to break. And I'll get as many of the upper row of keys as I can, along with the blue stems, which are unique to the function keys. Now here's the 40-80 switch. I will not try that. The spring is trying to escape. Oh. Got it. Okay. I think I will hold off on doing much more on this and wait for a soldering iron. Oh, there's another one. So when you try this, if you do try this, really just ever so gently, with still putting pressure on the top of the key with your own finger, just pry up ever so gently and carefully. I have found today and other times that I can do it just by going onto one side, and I'm just using a tiny little straight screwdriver. So far it's going well. I like this kind of hang on. Because I think I showed you the other day I had a screwdriver that the tip had broken and I was going to throw it away. I did. It's in the recycling. I hope the recycling is where it should go. Anyway, it will not bother me ever again. But this is, I find that when taking things like this apart, you need something that is secure. Now, speaking of secure, oh dear. So I still have things that are in place here that I have not unsoldered. So I'm just trying to gently open this up and get out as many of the blue things as I can. And that might be the end of that. So, you know what, I think I'm going to set this one over here. Because that is enough of that for now. So, oh yes, here is our magical keyboard taking apart tool. I don't know if this is the right size, but it says 3/16 of an inch. And it does seem to work. I think it's a metric size, and I think this is as close as it gets at this moment. So, I've got to clean these keys, and maybe we'll take apart a joystick later. Maybe another keyboard. Anyway, that's all for now. Be good. Hang in there. I will see you again.